Survival of the Physics is a set of games designed to highlight or show the importance and application of Newton's 3 laws of motion in our everyday activities. The games are supposed to be played between 2 groups and conducted with the guidance of a facilitator. To fully understand the significance of the games, we must know what are Newton's 3 laws of motion. Newton's first law is the law of inertia. This states that an object at rest will remain at rest until acted upon by an outside force. It also states that an object at motion will continue in its motion unless acted upon by an unbalanced outside force, which causes it to stop. Newton's second law is the law of acceleration. This states that the greater the mass of an object, a greater amount of force is needed to accelerate the object. Newton's third and final law of motion is the law of interaction. This states that for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction.
Tumbang preso. This game revolves around sapatos. This is our taya. Senior taya. The taya will stand next to the can, like this. And then the players will throw the sapatos or chinelas at the can. After they throw the chinelas or sapatos at the can, if they hit the can, the taya has to get the can, put it back, and then tries to tag them before they get the sapatos or chinelas. If they miss the can, the taya can go straight to tagging them when they try to get the sapatos or chinelas.
The first law of motion explains why is it that the shoe was able to knock off the can. Because the can wasn't that dense, it moved because it didn't have the ability to resist the force of player throwing the shoe at the can.
Newton's 3 laws can also be evidently seen in tumbang preso. The first law is seen as the can remains at rest until the slippery shoe hits the can, thus applying force to it. The second law is seen as the can, having zero acceleration or at rest, is acted upon by the slipper, which caused the can to have an acceleration. Lastly, the third law is seen as the reaction of the can to the slipper is that the can was pushed back.
Tolerance. What you have to do is, let's say you 2 players have 2 sets of 6 balls. You put 3 in, and then you mix them in the center. And then you use the 3 that you have to try and knock the balls of the opponent out. When the opponent no longer has any existing balls inside the playing field, you win.
Claire demonstrated, when she hit the big marbles, it barely moved because its ability to resist force was greater than the actual force that she was applying to the marble, hitting it. So there's a greater force onto that marble, then maybe the marble would move.
Newton's first law is also seen as one marble will remain at rest until another marble that is previously in motion acts upon it. The second law is also seen as the larger marble requires more force so that it may move as compared to a smaller marble. The third law is seen as the reaction of one marble to the other marble is that the marble moves.
Dodgeball is a game that we're all very familiar with. Basically, the teams will divide into 2, and then the starting team will be in the middle while the other on the outside. The team on the outside will be throwing these balls at the team in the middle, attempting to hit them and eliminate each player. After a given period of time, they will switch out.
At the start of each game, each player in the middle of the field is given lives. If a player catches the ball, he or she gains a life, which can be used to revive a teammate previously eliminated. If he or she is hit by the ball, then the said player is eliminated.
Law of inertia depends on one's mass or density. If someone has a high density, which is greater than the force applied to that object, like example LJ, they won't react. But if the density is lesser than the force applied to an object, then they will obviously move.
In our version of dodgeball, Newton's first law is seen as the ball that was thrown, which is in motion, hits the body of the player, changing the ball's speed and stopping its motion. The third law is also seen in two elements to the game: the throwing motion of the player and the way that the ball hits the other player. In the first part, the force of the arm serves as the action, while the ball moving or flying through the air is the reaction. In the second part, the collision of the ball and the body serves as the action, while the ball bouncing off serves as the reaction.
Every 80 seconds, people are dying in road crashes. More than 3,300 per day, and as much as 50 million people are injured.
Also, the World Health Organization predicts that by 2020, the leading cause of premature pedestrian deaths will be road accidents.
That being said, here are a few road safety tips for you and those around you.
Road safety tip number 1. Always raise your hand when crossing the street. We should do this to signal the driver of our presence and avoid road accidents.
Always follow the speed limit. A speed is the rate at which an object covers a distance or the distance over the time. You always have to follow a speed limit when driving a car or even when riding a vehicle. This is to ensure your safety and those around you.
Road signs are provided for the safety of both the pedestrian and the motorist. Here's an example of some road signs.
The no entry sign tells us we are not allowed to enter the area without authorization. No parking sign tells us we are not allowed to park here. We have to look for another parking area. The gas station sign tells us that there's an upcoming gas station. Here you can replenish, refuel, or take a break from driving. The speed limit sign tells us the designated speed limit for the area. We should not go over this to avoid road accidents. Pedestrian crossing sign warns us to take extra care as this area is designated for the crossing of pedestrians. This road sign was made to warn us of the steep slope of the road that we are traveling on.
Jaywalking is the reckless and illegal crossing of the road. It is the #1 cause of pedestrian death in all road-related accidents. Here's a clip of an example of jaywalking, which we shouldn't do.
Oi! Bawal! Bawal! No to jaywalking!
There!
Oh, okay, fine.
There!
Safety tip number 5. Always wear your seatbelt. Seatbelts could draw the line between life or death in the case of an unforeseen road accident. Wearing seatbelts would restrain you to the car seat, therefore reducing the impact taken by the passengers of the vehicle. The force of the crash, which is affected by the speed and acceleration of both vehicles, can be strong enough to kill the passengers. To have a safe and secure time on the road, let's recall all of our tips.
Always raise your hand when crossing the street.
Always follow the speed limit.
Road signs are provided for the safety of both the pedestrian and the motorist.
Jaywalking is the reckless and illegal crossing of the road.
Safety tip number 5. Always wear your seatbelts. We hope that you've learned a lot and have a safe and fun experience on the road. Thanks for watching.